Fagan, and today I'm joined by comedian and Chesterfield fan, Roland Gent. Welcome.
Hello, good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on.
Yeah.
And he's going to be sharing some of his experiences and escapades following Chesterfield. Okay,
Yep.
So we've got a good sort of half an hour planned. All right. So first of all, Roland, how is it going in lockdown?
How's it going in lockdown? Well, I could do with the barbers. Look at the state of me. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. Last time I had my hair cut straight away, and this time it's just like, oh, this will not last long. All right, God, I need a trim. Yeah. Comedy wise, it's basically it come to a grinding halt in terms of doing any gigs, and just sending off videos to people for their compilation shows or whatever. And I think everybody in lockdown suddenly went, hey, let's do the show online, and suddenly worked out that there were some things that worked very well and other things that really, really didn't. People doing an open spot to nobody on the internet. It's kind of talk about throwing yourself into the void, you know what I mean? But then again, you would watch other things which worked. I mean, no names and pack drills, but I've watched some famous comedy venues having their online stuff going on, and some comedians work very, very well. And you'd be sat at home laughing, and you'd watch another comedian trying to do something a bit different, and you'd just be going, this just isn't working, and this is kind of embarrassing. But it's gone okay. And recently what I've got into is actually TikTok. Don't judge me.
Okay. No,
because Freddie Quinn, who's a comic from around Preston Way, he's got massively into that. We had a bit of a seminar.
He's a TikTok star, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's got about 5 million views. And, he just explained it to us that, look, most internet platforms have been bought up. If you want to put something onto YouTube, it'll get 10 watches. If you put it on Facebook, you might get 15 if you're lucky. It used to be open season. Now it's not. TikTok is one of the few platforms that is still kind of open season. Yeah. And it's ideal if you're a comedian, if you want to do one-liner jokes or a little bit of material that's less than 1 minute, why don't you just get it out there? Yeah. So I've tried that. I did one joke the other day and it got 20,000 watches.
Wow.
And people going, TikTok, what's that? And they think, well, have I actually played to 20,000 people? No. In terms of club gigs or videos that I put on YouTube, have 20,000 people ever seen me? And the answer is no. You do that in one joke, and then you put another joke up there, and you get disappointed because only 100 people watch it. But then you think, well, the last time I played a Saturday night club, was there 100 people in there? And you think, well, there's probably about 70.
Yeah.
So it's a numbers game, but people think it's tragic or something, but it's no more tragic than anything else, really. You know what I mean? So that's lockdown for me. I mean, I've been working delivering parcels for Amazon, would you believe? Which is a whole nother world. I went from being a marketing manager, online marketing for an industrial firm, where I was making all the videos of all the products and making corporate videos, and we heard about this disease thing which was coming from China. It's like, as if that'll ever happen. Oh dear. I got furloughed for 6 months, lost my job, and ended up delivery driving because I had to. And I could tell you some stories about delivery driving, but I think some of them might get me arrested. But
opportunities for material there, isn't there?
Well, yeah. I mean, people like, why do delivery drivers behave like this, that, and the other? Well, if you're on an app and you've got like 3.5 minutes to get to your next drop and deliver it, and press the button to say I've delivered it, I think you might cut a few corners.
Yeah.
And there's people saying, I bet you throw them at every house. I'm like, well, no, I was one of the slower drivers because I'm over 50 and I don't run that fast. Other guys would literally put their trainers on and be sprinting all day up and down drives. I did that for 2 hours and I was shagged out, basically. So then you start walking, and then you're in a race to beat the dark. And I was doing this over Christmas, dark at 4 p.m. And then you're you're on a street, the app tells you you're here, and you're like, well, is it that house, that house, that house, that house, or that house? And you're looking for numbers, and I say, God bless everybody who puts big numbers on their dustbins. Because your delivery driver can see the big numbers on the dustbins. And if you do that, well done you, okay? If you live in a fucking block of flats,
yeah,
why do you want anything delivered? They don't happen by magic. Some poor sod has to run up and down the stairs, knock on the door, and then it's like, I didn't hear you knocking, I didn't know if you that goes back to the depot, you know. So if you do live in a block of flats, why don't you go and fetch it yourself? That's all I'm saying.
There you go. Know. GPS doesn't work.
No, works to within 500 yards.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's other people going, well, I said I'd be in at 6 o'clock. Why didn't you deliver it then? Well, that's because I've got a van full of 200 parcels, which I've got to deliver.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit, you know, one of them is in a bag in the back of that van. I would have to unload the entire van and, you know, specifically deliver it to you on a silver platter at whatever time you wanted to. That just isn't happening. Get real. You know, you're literally bombing around all day, no breaks, you know, pee breaks. You go around the back of the van, you know, all of that. You sling the van on a double yellow line, you know, and you've got literally people want to fight you if you're a van driver. As soon as they see the white van, it's like, get off there, you can't park in front of my house. And, you know, you spend all day going, just give me 2 minutes, I'm delivering. I'm not parking in front of your house. You know, I don't want to live here. It's just, it's like that all day, people going, you can't do that, you can't do that. So you start to hate the general public within half an hour.
Okay. Okay.
So that's been a lockdown. But anyway, football, yeah?
Yeah. So maybe not a career plan for you, not something to do long term, but yeah, I guess it gets you out of the house, doesn't it?
Gets you out of a hole financially, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so Roland, if any listeners aren't familiar with your comedy style, how would you describe it?
Well, same as everybody else, you know, observational, straight at you, always looking for the gag, you know. I used to, when I started off, I was kind of wanting to be political, wanting to talk about the state of life and all this sort of thing, but you soon realize that most people ain't interested in politics and couldn't name, you know, any more than the Prime Minister. So if you're going to do a political gag, you know, so broad brush strokes, I'm afraid, and straight at you kind of stuff, you know. And so, you know, instead of doing that, I just had to develop an act which has just got badum, you know, here's a gag, badum, here's another one, badum, here's another one. If you don't like this, there's another one coming along. And some of them stories, some of them silly puns, and, you know, just enjoy yourself and keep doing it. That's what it's about.
Right. Get to the punchline. Don't muck about.
Yeah.
Have you got any favourite venues you like to perform in?
Well, obviously, the Hot Water Club in Liverpool is, you know, made for comedy because they're comedy fans who made it, and good luck to them and God bless them because they've sunk a lot of money into that venue. Yeah. And even the simple things of having a lowered ceiling. Okay. People don't realise how laughs go up into the air and you can't hear them, but if you have a lowered ceiling and deadened sound and, you know, a bit of acoustic deadening, suddenly the laughs stay in the room, and the more people laugh, the more they want to laugh, and the more they laugh, the better time they have, and they come back and they laugh again. And just the simple things like that. And also the fact that they will have a nice bouncer man who tells people to shut the F up, and if you keep talking, he will chuck you out. And, you know, every comedian goes, God bless you. So that's the way it is.
Wow, a few people have said Hot Water Club, actually.
Yeah. They know what they're doing. They've been around for a long while. They started off in the pub next door to the train station in Liverpool. Then they moved to a hotel across the way from the train station in Liverpool. And then they got their own venue. I mean, and they successfully worked out that if you put somebody online and pay to promote it online, you will get hits, basically. You know. So you got people like Paul Smith doing big tours.
Of course.
Good luck to him. They've worked out how to do that. Why troll your ass down to London to play for 5 minutes at the comedy toilet Balham? You might as well spend the money promoting yourself online. Why not?
Makes sense. Okay, so now we're going to get down to business. So you are a Chesterfield fan.
Yep.
And can you tell listeners about your earliest memory supporting Chesterfield, and how did you get into supporting Chesterfield?
Well, it's like every fan. It's your dad, isn't it? I mean, come on. If you support your local team, it's going to be your dad, pretty much, or your uncle, or somebody like that who decides that kid's going to support my team. If you don't have that, then you end up being sat at school doing who do you support, Liverpool or Man United, and never going to football. You know what I mean? Yeah. So my dad took me to see Chesterfield play Blackburn Rovers in the early 1970s, and we won 3-1. So times have changed somewhat.
Yeah.
That fixture's not going to happen for a long while. That was the way it was. And we'd had a team which everybody had talked about in 1970, which had won the 4th division, had this amazing team. And ever since then, Chesterfield have been doing the same thing of you get out of the 4th division, you get into the 3rd division, you have a go at trying to get promoted out of that, and then either the club goes bust or all the players get sold. One or the other happens, Obviously, when I was younger, no offence, but Tranmere were one of them teams that were always at the bottom of Division 4.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was like Tranmere, Halifax, Darlington, and there's no relegation out of Division 4. You might as well just nail those on. Tranmere had that period, John Aldridge, I suppose those were the greatest days you were ever going to have, getting to the League Cup final and all that,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
First time I went to Tranmere away was in the FA Cup, and no offence, but I thought it was probably the 3rd shittest ground I've ever been to. It was a scary, it was a scary day out as well, because you got the main stand and you got a dividing line between the fans, so you got 2 lots of fans giving it all that to each other, and then the rest of the ground was like shale banks. You had a massive cop at one end and a cow shed at the other end.
Yeah, and it was literally a cow shed.
Yeah, and the side terrace, and you could walk all the way around. Yeah. And these Tranmere kids who were decided to come and attack the Chesterfield lot, so they walked all the way round, because they were all. I'd never seen scallies before, or casual, early casual stuff. Yeah. But the Chesterfield fans were mainly 40-year-old coal miners, bricklayers, and handy guys who then just literally. Everybody at Chesterfield used to wear an NCB donkey jacket.
Right.
That's when we had pits, because it's a coal mining town.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And this Tranmere lot came round. The Chesterfield lot just went, okay. And they just strolled round. These kids were running to attack them. They just fucking put the fags out and just strolled round and casually just hit anything. And there's like one copper in the ground. It was just like madness. And I think before, a lot of our lot had gone in that booze and the Mersey Clipper.
I know.
And there'd been a kick-off in there. So that was my, sorry, I'm rambling. The other thing about Tranmere is I remember going there about end of the 90s. I don't know what had happened on Merseyside, but every Tranmere Rovers supporter had a pair of white Adidas trainers, probably Sam. But somebody got a job lot just come off the docks or something. I was just looking, you could just hide that everybody was wearing these white Adidas trainers. And it was like, wow. I was still there in a leather jacket, fucking big quiff, might as well, you fucking woolly back, but yeah, that's kind of Tranmere away. I've been there, ever since the ground's been done up, and I've been on the other end and, sat in the seats and everything. But we used to draw them every season in the cup for about 5 seasons and lose every time.
Okay, that's like us in Peterborough.
Yeah, it's Jason Kumas, wasn't it? He was the best player.
He was, yeah. He was very, very talented, was Jason. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, you did have the chief Wayne Allison playing as well. So he was thinner when he played for you.
Yeah. Only a bit thinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, the sort of player who would just go for the ball. Other defenders bounced off him and just flicked it on.
Yeah, didn't really get much height. Just didn't really get off the ground, did he?
Yeah, but people just bounced off him.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, I'm going to shield this ball. Would you like to try and come through me? Because that's not going to happen.
So apart from going to Prenton Park, what was your biggest low supporting Chesterfield?
Apart from dropping out the league, obviously.
Yeah.
We're a non-league team now, and it's just like, people are, when you support a small team, people go, oh, you're shit. Oh, what division are you in? It's like, we're not even in the league anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a great team with Paul Cook in charge. We had a new stadium. The owner built it up, and his objective was to get to the championship and flog it, in his own words. We lost out in the playoffs to Preston, and he didn't sell the club, but he also cut the budget every year. Paul Cook built up this brilliant team, and he had to sell his best striker, which was Owen Doyle, the Irish fella, gingerhead, scores for everybody.
Okay.
He was the top scorer in the country under Cook, and we were playing a style of football we'd never seen before. And of course, the club sold him. Cook didn't want to sell him. Who would? And sold him for 800,000 to Cardiff, and said, "Hey, everybody, it's £1 million deal." And we was like, "It's fucking not." And even then, with no, and the guy in charge, Dave Allen, wouldn't give him any of that money to replace Doyle. So he just put Clucas up front. Clucas, he bought off Mansfield, and they went to Hull and Stoke. He's at now. And we continued. He continued the style of football, and we were great. Lost to Preston. Cook obviously went, as soon as we lost to Preston, he was off to Portsmouth, and all the players go, one by one. They're all left, only to be replaced by inferior players. Budgets cut every season. Worse and worse managers. 2 straight relegations, out of the league, and then managed to get even worse in non-league.
Impressive, isn't it? So what sort of clubs are you visiting now then?
Oh God! Well, we lost last night to Sutton.
Okay.
But Sutton are top of that league, and they're going to go up. They're the best team in it.
Yeah.
They're no football inside, but they just run and hassle. Stop the other team. One decent striker scores a goal, and then they're going to win 1-0.
Yeah.
We did that.
A lot of shithousery goes on in that league, doesn't it?
A lot of shithousery.
Yeah, that's what we used to call it.
Well,
the kind of game management and the time wasting and.
Oh, you're not joking. Teams get one ahead after 35 minutes. The goalkeeper goes down for a breather.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like kick it in the stands till half time, come out the second half, surround the ref at every opportunity. 2 banks of 4, beat that if you can. And that's what it is. But I love it when we go one up against a team who's doing that, because then they've got no plan B.
That's absolutely true, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's a horrible, horrible league, because you've got to win it or win the playoffs like Tranmere done.
Yeah. Is one automatic from there now still? One
automatic. Then there's 6 teams in a sort of a playoff league, in which the top 2 are automatically in the semi-final, and the other 4 have to play off to get in the semi-final and all this.
Yeah.
So we had a series of awful managers. I suppose Mad Dog Martin Allen was the guy they brought in to get them back up.
Okay. Right.
And he obviously had never managed, north of Watford before.
Yeah.
So they brought him up there, and his first week up in Chesterfield, he's like, one of the fans runs a restaurant. He's there in the restaurant with his assistant going, "Who do we sign?" "Don't know, I haven't got a clue." Because in the non-league, obviously, all the southern players stay in London, all the northern players stay in the north.
Yeah.
So I had no clue who to sign, and ended up just signing, has-beens.
Right.
Like Nelson, who played for Norwich, I think,
Okay.
centre back. It was like 38 at the time and really slow.
Yeah.
We do have a giant striker called Tom Denton. They signed from Alfred Town, which is, even the league below this one. But is effective in the National League because he's 6'8".
Okay.
So if they do get a cross into him on his head,
Yeah,
he scores. You know, he's out with a knee problem for the rest of the season. And he was even a player who managed to injure himself pre-season playing cricket.
okay.
That's like how bad it is.
You know? Old school, that, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. It's like you don't expect, you know, Aguero to sort of injure himself playing hockey out of season. You know what I mean?
And dominoes. Yeah.
I mean, because the last time I can remember us having a player who played professional football and cricket was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Tranmere ever had that.
I'm sure we must have. I think the most famous one was Ian Botham, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He played for Mansfield.
No, Scunthorpe.
The Scunthorpe. Yeah.
Well, obviously he was a cricketer who played football, but you know, you had decent sportsmen who could do both. We had Chris Marples, who was the goalkeeper in the 80s, also wicket keeper for Derbyshire. You know, so he could do both. You remember people like Ted Hemsley, Sheffield United. He played for Yorkshire and Sheffield United.
I know who I'm thinking of. I think it was Daley Thompson played for Mansfield.
Did he?
The Olympic
athlete. Did he get a game for Mansfield? I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah,
I'm sure he must have played for somebody. He did fancy himself as a bit of a footballer, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure it was Mansfield. So, okay, so talking about, we talked about your kind of the misery times and obviously the National League exit. But what's been your biggest high supporting Chesterfield?
Well, every time we've won the 4th division, obviously, which is quite a lot. Obviously, winning the Anglo-Scottish Cup in 1981, and you know, everybody said, did I get to the semi-final of the Cup once? Yeah. 97, we got to Wembley and got robbed by David Ellery in the FA Cup semi-final against Middlesbrough.
Wow,
you know,
in the past.
Yeah, Jonathan Howard hit the ball, hits the underside of the bar, clearly goes in. Everybody can see it's over the line. Linesman flags it's a goal, and David Ellery looks at him and just goes, no. It's just like, everybody could see it was a goal. Everybody knew it was a goal. And
no VAR then, no?
Pardon?
No VAR?
No. I mean, he should have hit the net, you know. I mean, he shouldn't have blasted it on the side of the bar, but there you go. And everybody's like, oh, that's Sean Dyche. Did he play for you? Yeah, he scored the penalty against Middlesbrough. You know, FA Cup semi-final, we don't even have a penalty taker. So John Duncan was the boss. He's like, give it to Dyche, because he was the hard man, you know. So it's like, he's not going to bottle it. so yeah, it was once again, we had a great team. We nearly got promoted out of the 3rd tier.
Yeah.
But by the time the cup run ended, you know, Kevin Davis was the striker. He was sold straight away to Southampton. Sean Dyche was sold. Mark Williams, Billy Mercer, the goalkeeper, Paul Holland. You know, they all get sold. Then they're buying some more. Have another tilt at getting out of that division. Fail. John Duncan goes, and it all falls to bits again. That's the nature of it.
Okay. So in terms of like players that you've had, can you think of your funniest ever player or any players that are particularly comedic?
Comedic? Well, oh my God, they used to have a mad goalkeeper on loan called Fred Barber, who was insane apparently. He used to run on the pitch wearing like a Halloween mask.
Wow.
He played for Darlington as well, and you know, when those scary rubber face masks came out, he would run on the pitch like that.
You're a bit more than what Peter Cech has.
Yeah, a bit more than that. Yeah, it was not because he'd broken any bones, just because he was mad. We also, you know, you also have like famous drunken players, and you know, just mad, violent people as well. I mean, one of our favourite strikers was Bob Newton, who still lives in the area, sometimes commentates on the local radio, but he was overweight. He had a beer belly, you know. Him and Ernie Moss, our, you know, record all-time goal scorer, formed this partnership at Chesterfield, Port Vale, and various other teams, where they went round all the, I hate that word, lower league teams. But, you know, Ernie Moss, the big striker who could head the ball, and Bob Newton was just like built like a barrel and literally flattened opponents. You know, he didn't drop the shoulder, just went straight through. And, you know, one time we were playing Swindon away on New Year's Day, as people used to, and him and the winger were blatantly out on the piss all night in the local nightclub till 2 a.m, you know. Got on the bus at 8 a.m, went to Swindon and just sort of strolled around the pitch, and we lost 4-0.
Wow.
But that's how it is. And, you know, when John Duncan was in charge, his clubhouse was the Old House pub in Newbold, where you could happily go and see John Duncan, Kevin Randall and half the team out on the piss if you wanted to.
Wow.
You know. And there's also, you know, players who smoke fags, etc. I was talking to one guy who's, you know, reminiscing about the Saltergate Club. That's the club at the back of the old ground, you know, where all the home fans drank. He said one time we were playing somebody, I think it might have been Swindon, but Chris Kamara went in the club, that supporters club, before the game, had a couple of pints, and then played.
Yeah.
He was playing for the opposition. He went in the home bar, and had a pint or two, and then played the match and won.
There you go. Has there been any funny managers that you've had? I know you've had Mad Dog, haven't you?
Oh God, Martin Allen. Well, he was mad. I mean, I do a bit of press work for the club, and he was doing the post-match conferences, and it was kind of embarrassing because we were losing every week, and he was be there like that, going, I think this is it. This is my big turning point. It was almost like psychologically trying to put some influence on the players almost, and it was just like, no, we're just playing big boot rubbish, and you've signed a load of crap players. Yeah. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter which. Of course, we've had John Sheridan twice, who's interesting.
Okay.
I mean, there's a guy who's been at Oldham 5 times. You know, he's got a reputation for being like a football firefighter. You know, you're near the bottom. John Sheridan will get you out of it by reorganising things. Yeah, but he also failed spectacularly the last time. You know, he turned the team around. It looked like we're going to get relegated out of the National League. I mean, literally, it was that bad. And he just lined them up in a 4-4-2 hard-running formation, and, you know, cut out the nonsense. But then he signed, you know, pre-season. I think he didn't do any scouting, didn't do anything behind the scenes, and signed literally some real crap. And the worst one being Stephen Gerrard's cousin.
Okay.
Anthony Gerrard, remember him, Oldham and Carlisle? He was literally too fat to get in the shirt, you know? It's just fat. And, you know, basically his thing was he could stand at the back, order people around and, you know, head the ball away and kick the ball away. And he was going to be the main man at the back, but he was just overweight, you know.
Wow.
And then, you know, obviously Sheridan got the elbow because the team were crap. And then next manager comes in and thankfully got rid of our fattest ever player. You know, when you've got a player who fans are looking at him going, Jesus, I had a skinful last night and I can run faster than you. It ain't good.
No.
No. So yeah, we have had some interesting players at the end of their career, and you know, but occasionally you get a brilliant player, everybody likes them, and then you know you hear the transfer rumours, and it's like, oh God, they're going to go, and you wonder why players might move on, and then from somebody in the club you hear how much they're being offered to be in the Championship, and that's just like me saying to you, you know, do you want to be a millionaire? Yeah. You know, yeah, because it literally is. I mean, I've done a fair amount of press work, as I say, and I was doing some at Preston North End when Simon Grayson was there as a manager.
Yeah,
and they said, you know, why did you sell this player? He said, well, I made him a millionaire, so I mean, it wasn't a bad move, was it? And that's somebody going from like Championship Preston who are paying sort of 4th lowest wages to somebody who wants to get in the Premier League, one of those teams, and the players are on £1 million wages. You know, if you said Norwich City, you can get £1 million for turning up for them, and people wonder why a player been transferred. Well, you would, you know.
You've got
simple as that.
Family, haven't you, and all of that.
Yeah.
Putting food on the table. And do you go away with Chesterfield? Any away days?
When I can.
Away days?
Whenever I can. I mean, you end up at the same grounds all the time, and it gets a bit dispiriting.
Yeah.
I think one of the stupidest was when we played Stockport away in the what do you call it, the EFL trophy or whatever it's called now. You know, the trophy for the, and we were in the semi-final of that away at Stockport.
Papa John's now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trophy.
So being as it's a big match, all the idiots turn up. You know, I'm an anorak, and then my mates are idiots turn up. And one of my mates is a market trader, so he's the kind of guy who will buy and sell anything. That's just his thing in life. He'll just have a wad of notes. He'll buy things off people and try and flog them. That's what he does. Yeah. So we were in the pub near the Stockport ground. We're playing pool, and there's a big plant there, which was a yucca plant, which was about 4 foot high. So he's got pissed and just said to the landlord, "How much for the plant?" And he said, "It's not for sale." He said, "How much for the plant?" No, it's not for sale. And he'd tell you, "Look, 10 quid, no, 20 quid, 30 quid. Right, okay, just take the fucking plant." So he's bought a plant, 4 foot high, this yucca plant. And we're just like, "Well, what are we going to do now?" So, "Oh, we'll take it to the match." So we go to turnstiles at Stockport, cash in. And, there's a little old bloke around there. And he's going, "What's that?" "Oh, it's my mascot, it's the plant." So just let us in. So we're at the back of the away end at Edgeley Park, and of course he passes it to me. I'm holding up this plant, and all my mates are chanting "Lucky Yucca, Lucky Yucca, na 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 na." So the whole terrace is like pointing at this yucca plant that I've got above my head. Eventually, I passed it to somebody else, and entire ends passing this lucky plant around. We lost 1-0 to a Kevin Francis goal, but that's the kind of ridiculous shit that you could get away with. Not violence or anything, but it's just like a jolly boys idiotic day out of stupidity. Who can be the absolute biggest goon? You know what I mean? I suppose that was in the days before the big bananas and all that sort of thing came in.
A bit like a precursor to all that, wasn't it? Yucca.
Yeah, but I kind of liked all that when it came in a bit,
like hammers and all sorts, wasn't there? Inflatable.
Yeah, the inflatable, the one on Match of the Day where there's a Nottingham Forest one, got an inflatable doll in a Nottingham Forest shirt or whatever. But I kind of thought that brought the fun back into football because, he's getting a bit sick of every away day being like entering a war zone. Yeah. When's it going to kick off? Who's going to do it? Who's going to kick off with who? It was just like, and you could, but you kind of got used to that. And then the all-seaters came in, and you thought, well, actually, it can be a family-friendly thing without turning into a day at the tennis, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I suppose that's a good thing that the Premier League's done, despite the fact that I really don't like the idea of the Premier League. I'm a bit, I'd rather be at any match, than just watching the Premier League. I really would. I remember when the Sky TV came out, and I went to a mate's house to stay for a weekend in London, and he had the Sky TV and the football was on, and it was like, first couple of days you could watch a live match on the telly. After about day 3 of watching Coventry 0, Wimbledon 0, it's just like, this isn't really as good as all that. So yeah, I would rather be having a bottle at a non-league ground than fucking doing that.
Let's start the craze again. So the Lucky Yuccas. I think also should bring one.
Yeah. I kind of like that, and I kind of liked it when people dressed up at the Test match and all that kind of thing. I just thought it was brought a bit of humour back into it, really.
Yeah. All right. So Roland, what do you have coming up in comedy? I know you're talking about TikTok. Do you have any sort of plans, any projects coming up?
Plans and projects wise, I've got 2 gigs in the diary for this year.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
I know people are starting to book up now, but it's like I'd do a little night at a local bar, which is an open mic night, and even then, I find it hard sometimes to get a crowd in for free. So it's it's one of those things. I'll keep doing it, but in terms of what. I had a show written. I was going to take it to Edinburgh, and I think I'll do a lot of that as material. But the whole thing of motivation's kind of gone. I hate to say that. I can do the job, and if people give me gigs, I'll do them. But it's comedy's kind of changed. Everybody's promoting themselves online, and it's like that these days. What can I say? When things pick up, I'll pick up some gigs.
Yeah, well, let's hope June the roadmap works out and we can get back into those venues.
Yeah, so well, I hope so.
How can people find you on social media, Roland?
Type my name into social media. I've got loads of videos of me on YouTube, which is Roland Gent, ROLANDGENT. I'm on TikTok. I've got a website which needs updating, obviously. And there's just, and you'll find my news reports and some football reports as well. So, right. I've done a couple of reports of a day in the press box at a non-league ground, that kind of thing. Just to give it a different angle of what it's like to be a journalist, and what it's like we're all sat there with masks on, there's no crowd, you can hear the players telling the referee to F off, you can hear the coaches threatening to beat each other up, you're a bloody cheat, and all this sort of thing. So yeah, I've got loads of those on there as well, so there's a bit of everything basically. What can I say? just keep going and keep making stuff and enjoying it. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, well let's be positive. And, keep on with the comedy, keep on the material, and hopefully latter part of the year you'll be back in the venues and performing to full houses. Yeah, and
I hope so.
you can sack off the Amazon driving.
Yeah. I mean, before all this, I was playing some festivals, and I've played, testimonial things at the football club and stuff like that. That's just the way it is in comedy. One night you're up in front of 100 drunken football fans with some testimonial doing "You better be funny," and the next night, you're doing sort of satirical cabaret with a few new gags to a few people. so you've got to have all those strings to your bow and just enjoy it, really. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks for your time. It's been great to spend a little over half an hour with you.
Yeah, good.
I wish you all the best for the rest of the year.
Yeah, let's hope it all picks up.